Yo, still bills, what's the deal? I just dropped my daughter off at daycare and I'm heading to the motherfucking plantation. Y'all know how the story go, man. But peep game, man, we got to rap about the fight that went down this weekend with my man Virgil Ortiz, man. Now, I'm gonna come all right out and say this. I was wrong. I thought Virgil Ortiz was gonna crash that man in about 7-8 rounds. I was wrong on that. Shout out to Kalex because he guessed it 9th round. But he didn't look his best. Clearly it was ring rust in there. He's a far more quality operator than he showed last night. I mean, a far better quality operator than he showed on Saturday night. He can give you multiple looks. He can mix it up on the inside, or he can work behind the jab and just really give you a better showing than what he normally did on Saturday night, man. But what people I'm seeing a lot of people, like I said, we live in the now. We're real reactionary creatures. We live in the now. As soon as we see it, we want to speak on it and judge him from that particular moment, instead of, and ignore the history, man. I'm saying, oh man, he better stay away from Boots to knock him out. He better stay away from Bud. He better stay away from Spence, all that shit. It's just real, like, dismissive that this man is fresh off of, I don't know what type of illness or injury that was that he caught last year that postponed this fight, but he's literally been out the ring for a year. He's literally been out of the ring for a year, man. You'll see mistakes with cats early on in their career, and it'd be harder for them to it'd be harder for them to look more impressive off of a year of inactivity than it would like a seasoned veteran. You know what I'm saying? So when we see Bud go a year without fighting, he's, a lot more established, and he's a seasoned veteran, and he's a multi-division champion. We see Spence, he's a 3-3. He's a unified world champion. So the mistakes and everything won't be as glaring with someone like Spence because he's a seasoned veteran. Virgil was still a kid that's learning, but he needs his title shot, man. Fuck all that. Stay away from Bud. Stay away from Spence. Fuck all that shit. Don't stay away from them niggas. Go in there and run that shit with them so we can see. We need them fights. But back to this fight, man. I like some of the shit that McKinson was doing. I like that he didn't stay on the back foot, the entire fight. He was really he was mixing it up. He was muddying the waters. He was standing his ground, and he would, let his hands go in combinations and dig in the pocket. In the pocket, man. One thing I notice about him when he does go on the attack and he becomes a counterpuncher, it isn't consecutively. It's like he's the epitome of walking somebody into a trap, man. He'll let you get comfortable with opening up. He'll let you get comfortable with letting your hands go before he punishes you. He did that a lot with Virgil, and he had some success with it. I liked his footwork. He didn't really allow himself to get trapped on the rope. He was getting under Virgil's hooks and not just weave up under the hook and come back up and stay stationary to be, a combo dummy on the rope. No, he'd get out and he'd spin out. He'd literally spin out and get back to the middle of the ring, or get back to the opposite side of the ring, man. The dude had good footwork. He had good upper body movement, man. He honestly did. He honestly did. I was impressed with it. The shit that I thought he'd be punished for, I don't think Virgil was in a position. I don't think he was sharp enough to punish him for that. With the defenses that I like, everybody keeps saying it, man. His chin is high up, man, and it's not even so much so much his chin being high up, but it's just this shit that he does. He doesn't protect. Boxing is offense, defense simultaneously, man, and he doesn't necessarily protect himself when he goes on the offensive, man. When he gets to pumping the jab, whenever he does decide to use it, he opens up. He's open. That's the glaring that, he doesn't keep the phone connected to his ear. No, bro, he's open. Virgil wasn't able to punish him for that because he wasn't willing to enter many exchanges with Virgil Ortiz, even though he exchanged with Virgil Ortiz. I thought that shit was cool, man. I like how, you know, he was getting in there, he was leaning on him, he was holding. It wasn't excessive holding. It wasn't, which I don't mind no way, man. As long as you can do, as long as you know, you can find some sort of success off of that. You can begin to build momentum, because the more you're holding, the more frustrated and aggravating he's getting. It's throwing him off his game. So that's he's about to start making mistakes now. He's making mistakes because he doesn't want me to hold him no more. So he wants to land a shot before I extend my arms and grab him and wrap him up. If you can do something like that and it begins to pay dividends later on down the match, I don't have an issue with it, man. But I think with him, I think he was still trying to find holes to the point where he can exploit. So he wrap him up, and, you know, he was doing a lot of, like, you know, not necessarily roughhouse tactics, but he was muddying the waters. But I respected it, man. He showed ring savvy in there, man. I must admit, he showed ring savvy. He showed ring savvy, man. But Virgil was just, that kid is different, dude. Like, I have him over Boots right now. I do. I've said that before. I'm gonna keep saying that. I have him over Boots right now, man. This dude he lifted this man off of him with a body shot, lifted him. And I don't know what the fuck he did to, you know, how hard you tap somebody to the body, and they, you know, they pull up, you know, they pull a muscle in their leg, or motherfucking dislocate their knee. I don't know what happened to that dude, but something clearly transpired with him to the point where he was running and he couldn't plant his feet. Them body shots was killing him. He didn't make it. He didn't get, you know, nobody's ever made it past the 8th round. As soon as they got into the 9th round, that shit was over. Literally, when the bell rang, Virgil ran up. It's a wrap. It's a wrap, man. The kid is the goods, man. He didn't work behind the jab like he normally does. He had his spurts where he would start having success with the jab and then go back to just launching Hail Marys, because he wanted to get him up out of there. Because he knew, I'm going to stop this dude. I just want to stop him in the now. I don't get paid for overtime, and I don't want no bullshit. This boxing, anything can happen in that square, man. You can get fucked up in there on one shot. So if I can get you out of here, let's get you up out of here. And he was trying to get him up out of there. It just didn't work in the manner that he wanted it to work in. So he stopped working behind the jab. But one thing I saw, he never abandoned the body. He never abandoned the body. He was beating that man's body up the entire match, man. I don't really remember could you have given them the first round? Possibly. But Virgil, like this, you know, the more eye-catching shots are always going to be the shot that wins the fight now. Unless somebody is just completely inactive, you're not going to see, those eye-catching shots ain't going to come from a Michael McKinson, because he just doesn't possess the proper snap. Virgil can punch through your guard. Virgil can punch you in your guard, and your guard do the rest of the work for him. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of devilish puncher that the kid is, man. So I don't know if I really want to say that I gave him the first round, but everything else, I think it was pretty much a flawless victory, man. Like, he ain't lose no rounds. I can't recall him losing any rounds. But it's a lot of people saying that, man, he ain't no good, man. He trash. He's this, and I'm just saying this. I don't know what it is, man. Like, just these people are, not these people, but my people in particular, man. They just get real ignorant with their, with their arguing, and he's gonna lose. I've seen people say, "Oh, he'll lose to any slick black fighter," and I'm like, y'all gotta stop, man. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all have to stop. Like, Bud is not gonna go in there and just wash Virgil Ortiz. I think he wins, but is he gonna go in there and just step on this dude? Like, nah, y'all have to respect the skill set of this kid, man. And that's another thing that he was doing that I saw. Before I get into that point, that's another thing that Virgil was doing that I saw, man. His ability to cut off the ring. His ability to cut off the ring. And also, one thing that I saw was when Michael McKinson started timing his hooks, and when he would weave up under his hooks and try to spin out, Virgil would not punish him, but he adjusted to that. Every time Virgil would throw a hook or whatever, Michael would get up under the hook. Virgil would cut the angle and hook off of the angle to keep him trapped in that space and that he was in, whether it was on the turnbuckle, the rope, whatever. He cut that angle and launched that hook. He wasn't landing, but it was there. It was like I said before, when Linares fought Vasily Lomachenko, he would launch that lead left hook just to hinder Lomachenko's angle so he couldn't punch off of the angle. This was somewhat done in reverse, man. Like he would throw, he would launch a hook. McKinson would, weave up under it. Virgil would angle out. He cut that angle and launched the hook off of the angle. So Michael McKinson couldn't go nowhere, man. I've noticed that, man. Like the kid has everything, man. Like he just needs to work. He cleans up that defense because he has good defense. He has good defense. The thing is, when you're a pressure fighter, you're gonna take more punishment because you're trying to get in. I think his bread and butter is his pressure. Him stepping in, him coming to walk you down, him putting that immense amount of pressure on you. Now, if you start getting the better of him in exchanges, you're out timing him in exchanges, you're pushing him back, yeah, then he can work behind the jab. We saw that with Kavaliaskez. He worked off the jab. When he got hurt in that second round, he started operating off of the jab. Even after he knocked Kavaliaskez down, and I want to say, was that the third round? He knocked him down with a jab. He went back. He went in an exchange. He went back to the jab, and he just operated off of the jab last summer. But that's his bread and butter. Walking you down. And when you're a pressure fighter, you're gonna take punishment coming in because they're trying to keep you up off of them. So in order to keep you up off of me, I have to steal the shit out of you. So you're gonna take a lot of punishment coming in, man. So I think could he be a lot more sleek like a Tyson or whatever, or even like a Canelo? But even in Canelo takes punishment as well. Tyson took punishment as well coming in. Sometimes when you're a pressure fighter, that shit is just gonna be like, that just is what it is, man. You're gonna get hit coming in. You're gonna get hit coming in. So could he be a bit more elusive on the entry? Yeah, he could be. He could be. His guard is already tight. Like he has a tight guard. Eventually, people are gonna start to find holes in that guard when they're trying to keep you up off of you. So that's gonna happen, man. But could he a bit more, work his angles? Because I think one thing, he did work his angles a little bit more so when he was fighting them Mauricio Herreras of the world and shit like that. He did work his angles a little bit more. I think that's something that he should be, that he should really begin to implement into his game plan. Slip, cut the angle, hook off the angle. Like how he was doing McKinson later on in the match. He should be doing that right out the gate. Like how Tyson was. Slip, cut the angle, force you to reset, but while you're resetting, I'm beating the shit out of you. I think he should do shit like that. I think he should because he has the feet to do it. Canelo doesn't have the feet to do that shit. Virgil Ortiz has the feet to do that shit, man. So I think he should do that. I think he should do that. I think he'd take a lot less punishment coming in if he did do that. But nonetheless, I don't want to make it seem as if his defense is just completely leaky, because it's not. It's not. So that's one thing that I did see from him, was his feet. His feet definitely, it was a more, he resurfaced his footwork in this matchup. He was cutting the ring off from somebody who's a sleek fighter. I respect that, man. But that's one thing that I did see, that I did notice, man. But like I said, man, Bud isn't gonna just be able to walk through with Virgil Ortiz. It's just not gonna happen, man. I do think Bud wins the fight, man. But Virgil Ortiz, this is a big kid, man. This is a big kid with power in both hands. The dude's jab is ridiculous, man. His body, his soul, everything. That shit is, it's ridiculous. It would take Bud to the mid rounds, I think, to begin to break Virgil Ortiz down and figure him out. Because I just think Virgil Ortiz is just that good. Like I said, I think he's the best contender as of right now. Him, and you got to give Stanionis You got to give Stanionis. It has to be between Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz, just based off of who it is that they beat. We know what the deal is with Boots. I just want to see it amongst someone like that. I want to see it against someone like a Butayev or even a Jamal James, somebody like that. I want to see it against Stanionis. I want to see it against I don't want to say a Rashidi Ali, but somebody of that ilk. And Alexis Rocha, somebody of that ilk, or even a Rashidi Ellis. I wouldn't be mad at that. But somebody of that ilk. I want to see somebody. I want to see it from somebody of that ilk before I say, yeah, bro, it's official. Custio Clayton, I do think was a good win, but we knew what was gonna happen with that. But I want to see it with somebody on the that's on par with these other cats, with the Stanionis. Stanionis just said, yo, I'll fight him. He's saying he called everybody out. He ain't call me. I want that phase. Go run that shit with Stanionis, man. Or run that shit with Butayev. Go run that shit with them. They not gonna put Butayev in the ring with Boots right now because he's coming off of a loss. They ain't gonna put him in there with him right now, and I ain't mad at that, man, because I still think Butayev is gonna be one of the baddest motherfuckers in the division. Like, people was really like, you can't be dismissive of Butayev, man, because of what happened with Stanionis. It just. Stanionis, he was the better fighter that night. It is what it is, man. But I do think he's one of the baddest in the division. I do think that, y'all. So it's a nice crop of heavyweight. I mean, shit, man, go fight Cody Crowley. I think that would be a good fight because Cody Crowley is big. I think he looked bigger than 5'9" too. Boots versus Cody Crowley, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. The PBC has a healthy amount of welterweights over there. Why won't you get him in there with one of them? Why don't you put him in there with Cody? Put him in there with Stanionis. Put him in there with Butayev, man. Let's see what the deal is. But so I see what time it is with Boots. I just want to see him in there with more credible opposition. That's all I'm saying, man. So at the moment, I think Virgil Ortiz is the baddest prospect in the division. Contender in the division. So stop throwing salt, my nigga. Like, y'all dudes just being real extra out. Virgil was a bad motherfucker, man. Y'all gonna have to put some respect on that kid's name. Because it's gonna be ugly whoever he fights next. If he fights somebody that, that's on par with the competition that he's been fighting, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly, man. It's going to be real ugly. So that's pretty much all I got to say about this shit, man. I got to get in here to work. I'm going to start my Monday off proper like, and hopefully be done by the time this rain hit, man. So that's pretty much all I got to say, man. Deuces.